Welcome to another episode of Money You Should Ask. I'm your host, Bob Wheeler. And in this episode, we're going to explore, examine, question, converse, dig deep, expose, laugh, and cry about the money beliefs, money blocks, and life challenges of our next guest. Turn up the volume, listen, learn, and laugh. So I am super excited today because this is our 100th episode. And we have with us today our guest from episode 1. She is the star of America's Got Talent, or one of the stars.
Yeah.
The star.
Probably
the major star.
Next to Simon.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. The only two that have staying power,
Right.
Vicki and she is a comic. She's toured around the world, I could say, at this point.
Yeah.
Parts of the
If
world.
you count Fresno.
Yeah, I do count Fresno.
Okay.
Because raisins are important.
That's right.
And so I'm excited to have Vicki here. I've known Vicki a long time. Vicki, when we first had her on the show, it was pre-AGT. They had just started filming. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know she was going to make it into the finals. We
Right.
didn't know, things have changed. So I'm super excited. Without further ado, Vicki Barbolak, it's great to have you.
Thanks for having me back. I had to wait 99 episodes for you to finally call me up, but I sat by the phone for all these weeks, and you finally called me back. Thank you.
Well, I felt like you needed to get some traction. You know what I mean? I wanted...
Right. Another schlub interview with nothing to say.
I figured within a couple of years, I was hoping there'd be a little bit of movement.
Yeah. Well, there has been a slow amount of movement. Actually, there was a huge, gigantic torrent of movement, and then the grinding halt.
Oh, grinding
There's
halt.
something going on lately.
Oh, yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I think it's the flu. A lot of people, or spring fever.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
And that's just shut things down. Yes.
When I said temperature check, I didn't think you were going to do rectal. I mean, I think you took it a little too seriously.
But I just feel it's more accurate, and I want to be safe. I want to be safe.
I did, at least it was not on the camera. And
I appreciate that. And I appreciate that you showered. So, life is good.
That's
you know what I'm saying? It's important.
It is.
So, Vicki, one of the first things I have to say, because I meant to say this the last time we talked, is you're sort of, I don't know if I should blame you or thank you, but, you're the reason that I'm the CFO at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
Because you told Mitzi.
Mitzi goes, I ain't no accountant. I was sitting right next to her, and I said, Mitzi, you've got to call Bob Wheeler. He's a brilliant he does comedy, but
but he's much better at accounting.
No, I didn't say that, because we were all new comedians.
We were all new.
And I said, he's a brilliant a CPA, and you'll love him. And she met you, and she loved you, and you saved the Comedy Store many times. Well, without you, we wouldn't have a Comedy Store.
Well, I love being there. It's one of those things. Now, I have to say, we are sitting atop of a hill in your trailer park.
My trailer park. Yep.
Well, in your trailer in the trailer park.
That's right. The coastal hills of Oceanside.
So we've got a breeze. We've got chatty neighbors. We've got a pool and a jacuzzi.
Yep.
Some beautiful plants in the back.
Yeah.
Growing high.
That's right. You can smell the legal plants that we're allowed to have here growing.
Exactly.
Yes.
I've got a certificate. You can have 6.
Yes, up to 6. Lose babies. He doesn't have pictures of the grandchildren in the wall.
Yeah, they're growing.
Just look.
Look,
I just planted that.
They're just planted. Oh my God. So, so things have changed, right? You started getting booked, and you were getting booked, but things changed dramatically financially.
Oh, yeah. I was so broke for all these 20 years. That one time I got $50,000 for America's Funniest Mom. Mm-hmm. But that was, that lasted me 3 years probably. I made, stand-up comics, unless you have a big TV credit, you make a few $100s a week.
Right.
And that's it. And I did some hustling for fundraising and stuff like that. But even then, I wasn't a big corporate draw. So, I literally, jeez.
I remember a couple of Union Bank.
Oh my God, Bob. Yes. Oh my God. I remember that we were in Pismo Beach, this fancy Pismo Beach golf club.
Yes.
And I'd done the thing for Union Bank before, and they loved me. So they brought me, but the big corporate guys from Japan came. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
And they all turned their backs on me. They literally just turned the chairs away from the stage so they didn't have to look at this. Well, it was so funny.
The skirt was a little short.
The skirt, my usual short skirt. It was too much. And then we had that beautiful hotel room. It was like $1,000 hotel room. The bed was like 2 feet deep. And I said, Bob, you cannot sleep on that little couch thing. You have to come up here and sleep in this bed with me. And then you said yes. And sometime during the night, I remember just kind of turning over. And I might have put my arm around you. And then you flew out of the bed so fast. And I said, oh, Bob, I won't do it again. I said, I'm going to put a big barrier between us. I'll make a bedroll barrier. You're like, no, it's your snoring. It's not that you attacked me. It's your snoring.
You can sexually assault me. Just don't snore.
Oh, my God. That was the funnest time.
That was fun.
Oh, my God. That was
fun.
I think word got around the corporate world there.
Yeah.
Don't hire that one again.
She's a crazy.
But now I do corporates all the time.
Now you're doing corporate. You're getting paid.
And, I made great money on the tour. The shows were selling really well, and you get a portion of the ticket sales, and it got some really big, giant jobs, and it was amazing.
Well, you're doing a show in Vegas on a regular basis?
A really great thing because Simon Cowell got involved and did get me these amazing managers. Mm-hmm. And they got me with the Caesars people, and they got me into that Jimmy Kimmel situation, and getting to do Jimmy Kimmel's comedy club, and having Jimmy approve me, and having a residency in the coolest room in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Every Tuesday, Trailer Park Tuesday. That was like, a dream come true. And that,
yeah.
And our piano is still locked in there. Because Lou, my husband, my favorite husband so far, he plays the piano before my shows. He's a piano player at the Comedy Store. That's how I met him. But it was a Tuesday night. We were coming back the next Tuesday in March. We left the piano there because we were going somewhere we didn't need it. And we flew out and left the piano, and it's been there ever since. Locked in the Jimmy Kimmel room.
Well, it's interesting. I remember you did the show, and then we actually had to go to Sandy's funeral.
Yeah.
And we were in a grocery store.
Yeah.
And we were getting flowers. Mm-hmm. And people knew you. You remember? And people were like, oh, my God, that's Vicki. And so what was it like to having struggled or just done your thing and not being recognized, to all of a sudden, you're the woman from AGT, you're the woman in the bathing suit, you're the woman from the Trailer Trash Nasty.
Right. People would always yell, that's Trailer Trash. I'm like, Trailer Nasty.
Trailer Nasty.
And it was really fun. People say, oh, is annoying ever. I think when you wait so long for it, it'll never not be annoying. And I had so many fun things, like pilots would let me sit up in their cockpit and just trippy stuff. And it was just, I really liked it. People were so nice. Yeah. Nobody was ever a mean or an asshole. They were just really kind and loved you on the show. It was all, just wonderful.
How did it change with other comics and you doing shows and all of a sudden getting more traction?
What blew me away was the really, you never know how that would go. But everybody, all the comics that I've ever known, really, everyone just reached out to me and said, Vicki, we are so happy for you. If one of us could break through, we're so glad it was you. So kind, like so nice, I didn't get any oh, she doesn't deserve this, or she's just a jerk, or she's not cool. She's a dumb act. Nobody did any of that. Yeah. And I was blown away by the real sincere support. Mm-hmm. And it meant the world to me, really. Yeah.
And how has it been for your kids, who now you have grandkids?
Yeah.
How was that, to have them see you get the success?
It was really fun, but the worst one is my little grandson, Ben. He's 7. So he would go around to the school like a little producer and go, I think I'm going to be able to get you into my grandmother's upcoming TV show if you treat me right. So you might want to let me have that cookie. I'm sure I get you a role in her new show. Literally, he was going around like he's some kind of, a producer. It was so funny. I'm like, Ben, you can't say that.
It's hilarious. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, he's a little shyster.
And what would you say you've done differently with your money, if anything? Because money's come in. It's more than just $50,000. What have you done anything different? What has been your...
You know what's a great thing? Thank God. Lou and I decided that we would just live like we lived before, because we had a real strong feeling. We didn't know we'd be this right, but we had a feeling that wouldn't last very long. You know, it's a very good, people think, oh, once you get a break like this, well, first of all, I'm 60 years old when this happened.
60 years old, yeah.
I'm 62 now. Oh. And both of us felt like we better save every dime, because this could go away like that.
Right.
And so we lived just the same as we did before. Rarely did we splurge. I remember I bought my grandsons a golf cart. It was $1,500. I bought them that for that first Christmas. And that was a big outrageous expenditure.
Right.
And we did buy the truck, and I'm like, oh, but then Lou goes, well, we could write it off. But other than that, I mean, I still have my old broken refrigerator that we keep gluing back together. And we didn't, you know, that I did buy the pool, but that was $300, right. And I'm using it every day.
Right.
But other than, I mean, literally, we saved all of it, and I'm so glad.
And what was, besides just knowing that it might not last forever?
Yeah.
Like, was there any? Like, I know for some people, they would be looking and saying, well, I've got the money, so now I'm going to have all the things that I had to go without. Do you think it was because you've had a little bit of maturity and you're able to say, look, those things aren't as important? Or, you know, well, no, I'm really in fear that there's going to be no money. Like, what helped you to stay really focused on, we're just going to keep living the life we've been living has been so far so good, or it wasn't enough, but I can live with not enough? Like, what?
I think that there was extreme fear of, I have been so poor for so long. Mm-hmm. So I've read that people that go through poverty, they always feel poor.
Right.
So maybe that's just the syndrome that I live in.
Right.
That I will still, my friend was so happy when we were working in Nashville when I paid $5 to park, because I will drive miles. I'll miss an opportunity for lunch. I'll miss the lunch trying to get a free parking.
Right.
So he was like, you're going to pay for parking? He was so relieved, because my feature act, and I'm like, yeah, we're doing it. We only have a couple hours to mess around in Nashville. We're paying parking. Right. His mouth dropped open. Like, I've learned to just be so tight. And I did, though, feel a couple times like I want that creeping feeling like, oh, I could probably buy that, or I want that. Then I started noticing, if you want one thing, you want another thing. Like, I bought that golf cart for the boys. Then my grandson, Timmy, turned 15, grew 7 inches. He's 6'6", right. And he's 15. He can't fit in the golf cart. So then I'm like, now I want a gas-powered, he can't fit the go-kart. Now I want a gas-powered golf cart. And I really started looking for one. I'm like, I can't do that. I can't do that. And so, but I feel like when you start letting go of the money a little bit, then you think it's kind of like a slope that I really felt. I could feel it, if you want to, my kitchen, this is the old original kitchen, this is a 1974 house. Okay. The kitchen's a 1974 kitchen. I mean, I did my own countertops with some fake crap, but I'm like, I'm thinking, well, we should know. Because my kitchen's fine. You know right. what I'm saying? But it's that creep for me. It's like you spend a little and then it just keeps going. And I'm actually glad that I'm terrified, I guess.
Yeah. So you talk about this fear and having been poor. And I'm thinking back, like, no, I don't need the new kitchen. And I know I'm often called cheap. I like frugal, but cheap. But I also think I have this, I hold, I got to get and that's probably part of my OCD, where, I have to get every drop out of the mushroom, cream of mushroom can, or the tuna. Or if it said it needed 3 cups, did it know that I was going to leave a residue and I'm trying to get, I'm so obsessed about that stuff. But right now I have a rice cooker. Well, I have 2 rice cookers. I've had a new rice cooker for 3 years, but I don't want to use it yet. Because even though the old one has a couple scratches, it's probably time for it to go. But I could probably get 8 more batches of rice out of the
right.
rice cooker.
Yeah.
And so the new rice cooker has literally been sitting in the closet for 3 years. Because I'm just can't. There's still use out of it. Like, it needs to be dead.
Right.
To me.
Yeah.
Before I'll be like, oh, okay, now I can have the new.
Absolutely. Like, I got a brand new GE electric stove and double oven from some people who are remodeling their house. They gave it to me.
Wow.
I mean, that's what I look for, and I'm never going to change. I don't care how much money I have. I'm not going to try to. I think the people that brag, like I have some cousins, they have a lot of money, and they brag, like, I bought this wonderful washer and dryer set. It was like $6,000. I'm like, big deal. Tell me you bought a wonderful washer and dryer for $300 with a dent in it, bitch. That's what I want to hear. Or tell me, we got this new wine. It was $50. Well, you're an idiot if you can't find a good bottle for $50.
Right.
Find me a $5 bottle of wine that's good. Then I'm impressed.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll lay down and say, bow down.
Right.
But these people that are bragging of what they bought, where they wasted, they could have bought. I don't want to hear it. Shut up. It's boring and stupid.
Yeah.
Will be.
I paid double retail.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I will go anywhere if it's like my Macy's couch. I mean, I waited till I got it on the major sale because, unfortunately, I had a problem with my old couch. Now, this is how cheap we're talking about. Then you would probably relate to this. I bought this beautiful, like, $3,500 couch on Craigslist. They had the receipt. They had just bought it, and I bought it for $400 and 8 tickets to the Comedy Store. And it's a big, beautiful couch. And then we went on tour for 2 years. And while we were gone, some rats came in the house. And we noticed when we would come home, and I actually had a cleaning lady while I was gone, we noticed the rat droppings. And then it got really bad, and we had a rat person come out. They fixed all the holes under the house,
Right.
and it was a really great guy. And then we did not see any more rat droppings.
Yeah.
Then one day, this is right after COVID, we're home, and one of my grandsons lost a toy, and his father came over. We tipped the couch over, and there was a rat nest on the bottom of the couch.
Oh, my God.
You know what a rat nest looks like?
No.
It's about 2 feet long, and they took a lot of the fur on part of the couch, underneath stuff.
Yeah.
And then they brought things from the house and joined it, like weird things from the house, like earrings, where they enjoyed my earrings.
Well, that's good.
In this rat nest. And then I thought, oh, gross. We've been sitting on a rat nest, and it's dead. The rats were not
rats
there
were
anymore.
dead, yeah.
But still, then there
It's
were
an empty house.
There weren't rats in
Empty
it.
nesters.
Yes, empty nesters. Now we're real empty nesters. So we ripped off the bottom, the black stuff, and we cleaned everything out, swept, and I sprayed bleach, sat it down like there was never a rat nest there. And even me, after about 2 weeks, I was like, I can't sit on this couch anymore.
Yeah, that would freak me out.
Yeah, I'm like, even I got it. And I would tell people, and they go, oh, we can't come in anyway. Thank God. We'll never come back to your house. If you don't want to cook dinner for somebody, tell them they got a rat nest. They will leave.
They'll never.
You don't have to cook.
They
You
don't
just
stay
invite
for
them.
dessert.
They're not.
It's awesome.
So I had to find a cat, and you couldn't get in a store at the beginning of COVID. You couldn't find anything.
Right.
Finally, I always dreamed of a Macy's couch. Now I've never bought a new piece of furniture in my whole life ever.
Right.
Maybe one or two things, but never a couch, always used. And I used to sell carpet, so I'd always meet people moving. So I've always bought beautiful used furniture. Right. So I had no options. I knew I had to get a new one, and I always had Macy's couch. So I ordered a couch from Macy's. It was on sale, big sale. And I looked at the color, and it was like, it looked tan, but I got it, and it's white. I'm like, we can't have it. What am I going to do? But all the cushions were like really sloppy and didn't fit right and everything. And I'm like, oh, crap. I called Macy's and I'm like, listen, look at these pictures. These things this is my dream couch and it's a lumpy mess. I felt like a nut. And they go, okay, well, we'll give you 30% off. I go, okay. I love this couch. And so then I bought white covers to put over my white couch.
Right.
So now I'm like that person who covers her furniture with fabric.
That's
sick.
Well, you have a dog, to be fair, so maybe...
Well, it's a white dog.
Well...
It's not like he's a problem. It's Lou and I in the mornings, coffee. And I before I covered it, I spent about 2 hours of my life every week completely cleaning that couch. I'm like, this isn't going to happen.
But it's your dream couch.
It is my dream couch. Now I can't see it. But
you know it's there
I know
under
it's there
all
under
the
all
layers.
that cloth.
Under the cloth. Any other dream purchases that you've made since...
No, honest to God, my truck. I bought a truck it was a couple thousand miles on it, but it almost new.
Yeah,
Honda Ridgeline. It's a beautiful truck, and it fits all the grandkids in it. But that was a huge. And then COVID hit, and I'm like, oh God, I should have bought the truck. But Lou goes, no, it's still fine, and we can camp in it. So
there you go.
Save money on motels.
Cool. Absolutely. Now you never. One of the things that I thought was going to come from AGT was. And maybe it did, and I just didn't see it. But I thought you were going to get a date with Simon at Denny's.
They said Dunkin' Donuts wouldn't let us, but I did get to meet with him at the Four Seasons in Las Vegas, so that was almost as good. But it was, and he just got me great management. He really is a man of his word, really great. And we went on around and pitched to trailer park TV shows, and 6 or 7 people all passed, but it was really fun to get to pitch. And I feel like it's better. It was a lot to think about, but I think that for me, I'd rather just be part of somebody's show or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was looking forward.
Hint.
Yeah,
right. Hint.
I was looking forward to going on auditions and stuff now, but I guess things are starting back up. So
it's a little crazy right now. And how has that impacted you for not getting to? I know you're getting ready to go on the stage this week because, thank goodness, the Comedy Store in the Alley.
It's so much fun.
Is doing shows.
Yes.
But prior to that, what has it been like not to get to get up on stage, not to get to have your craft, not to get to make people laugh and do what you came to do?
The first few weeks was such a shock because literally we flew every day. I mean, I was on 3-4 planes a week. Yeah. We were flying flying a weekend, then back to Vegas every Tuesday, out to another city. I only had a couple of weekends off in 2 years, and Christmas, and that's it. And so we were just going, and we'd wake up in the morning and we wouldn't know where we were ever. Yeah. And I just had this way of handling it, which I just didn't think about the future. I only thought of today. Yeah. And otherwise, if I thought of my calendar or looked at it, I would freak out beyond belief. So I just every day woke up, where am I? So then it would all just stop to a grinding halt. And for the first few weeks, I'd wake up in my house, and I was like really weird to wake up in the same place every day.
What are you doing in this house?
Yeah, it was like Groundhog Day. I'm like, am I really awake? And then I think everyone was in that shock of your world is so different now, and then then you just got used to it. And then I tried to get some things going. I'm working on my book, and I'm doing a podcast. I tried another idea, it didn't work, so just started a podcast with a great little crew.
Big Girls Don't Cry.
It's Big Girls Don't Cry, and my co-host Amber Rose is a blast, and Mike Vinn from the Comedy Store is an in-house producer. And he's a comic, and we're having so much fun. And we did episode 5 last week. It was our swimsuit edition, so we wore our swimsuits for the show.
Nice.
It's a show that's geared to big girls. It's geared to the fat. You don't have to be fat. Skinny bitches are welcome to join in.
You won't judge them.
There's no judging, and it's for everybody. And we're just really. I never knew how much fun that would be. And what Lou said to me was, because sometimes you can't help but be sad. And he goes, being on the road, that's great, but you couldn't last forever on the road. And this is opportunity to the podcast that you're so enjoying. Look at that. Tragedy, opportunity always comes around.
Right.
If you let it. And it just, look, sometimes you don't have to let it. You just get a hit in the head with an opportunity. But I noticed that in so many times in life and the thing about COVID is a lot of people are learning that there's some really good benefits to this.
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
Everybody that just felt like the only joy they got was by spending their money and buying crap.
I think that's been a huge revelation to a lot of people. Oh, I don't need to go out to dinner every single night. Yeah. Oh, I don't need to have this and that.
Yeah.
Or the newest or the fastest. And so
look at that purse.
Yeah.
I never saw that point. Why would you care? Look at this purse. People know it costs more than $1,000. I would be embarrassed to walk around with a purse. Personally, I would say, I should have sent that. I feel like a pig. I'm not judging them.
Right.
But there's no way I'm going to walk around with something that costs $1,000 just to show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I never got that.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that, look, there are places, I love to spend money on sushi. I love to spend money on travel.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm tight with a buck when it comes to spending on clothes and other things. I don't, I joke. I mean, I probably would still be working with cassettes just because I never, I hate that technology keeps changing and then I have to replace all of my music and my movies and stuff. So, I want everything to stay locked in time. I'm good with it. Although it's funny, I go back and watch stuff that somebody might have a VHS. I'm like, that's terrible quality. Or even watching on classical TV, I watch some of the old shows. I'm thinking, wow, that was filmed really terribly. But at the time, it was quite.
You didn't think about it.
It was good enough.
Beverly Hillbillies still looks good to me, though.
It's good enough.
I'm sorry.
It's good enough.
Yeah, it's true.
Just jumping back to your podcast, so you're having fun doing it, but what did you hope to get out of doing this podcast? Was it, I just want to have fun?
Honestly,
was it,
I really wanted to stay in touch with my fan base.
Yeah.
I thought they will forget me. So if I did something creative, plus it's really fun to do something creative. You got to come up with ideas for the show. You got to be funny. And you got to bring your humor. And I miss that. So that 2 things: 1, to stay engaged with my fans, and 2, to be creative, to have something creative to do. Besides decorating my wine boxes over and over again. They get,
but they're beautiful wine boxes.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Wine in a box.
I think it's going to be the new Fabergé egg.
Yeah,
one day.
I think so. I think just shellac it or something.
I'm going to have an exhibit.
An exhibit
of my wine box creations. It's going to be good, Bob. No, seriously.
I believe you.
I'm going to auction them off.
Starting bid $1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it's a start.
Hey, I was going to throw them away otherwise.
Exactly. A buck is a buck.
That's right.
Here's one of the things that I think is great about you doing this podcast, which is not my podcast, but which I think is great too.
I love your podcast.
But so one of the things that I think was really cool, and even though it was very funny and people loved it, I think there was something really honest about you going out in your bathing suit.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people that feel ordinary or don't feel special, that you going out there and just saying, I'm proud of, like, this is me. This is me unapologetically. It's not, the model ideal, but this is me and I'm proud of it and I'm happy and I'm showing up as me.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, I think in that moment, even though there was a lot of laughter in the surprise and the way you played it, I think there's something that your fan base connects to, in that you're not trying to be something other than who you are. And I think a lot of people appreciate that, because in Hollywood, there's so much, look at what I should be, or look at how I present. And I know we talked about this a little bit in the previous podcast, but I'm going to bring it back because it feels so important. Is, I remember when your mom got sick, and you made the choice to stick with your family instead of taking the shot because you had some really big breaks that were happening at that time. And it's come full circle, but I think there's something about staying true to who you are. And so I think that's one of the things that, I think that's why we've had such a long friendship, is that I know that, it's the real deal. One of the things I think people love is the fact that, you're authentic and you're who you are. And I'm curious, with all that's gone on, with having gotten success, being known, what is it that you want to leave for your grandkids? Like, what do you want them to be able to say about Grandmammy Vicki, or what's...
They are so important to me. And I hope they, when you're a grandma, it's just about being a big ball of fun.
Yeah.
And I think that, my daughters, because they were with me the whole 20 years of struggle, that I call struggle, but to me, it would have been way more struggle if I'd kept my parents' carpet store. Even we would have been rich, but that would have been more of a struggle.
Right.
But they were with me in the comedy art, the life of an artist, how we lived. And they learned a lot about giving things up, going for your dreams, not stopping, keep going. And they're both really successful because they have a lot of grit, and they knew they were on their own. So but I feel like influencing grandchildren, it's just, I just hope they look at me as someone who just loves them so much, and someone who they could be proud of, because I do work hard. They know I work hard. They still see that I work hard. And when I was working so much, they were supporting me. But they said, I remember Joel, he's the middle one, he said, Grandma, this means we're probably not going to see as much of you, but we're very happy for you, and we know that you should do this. And he was so right, because then I was gone so much. But that's one of the great, like COVID, the tragedy opportunity is I get to see him again and watch him grow up the last few months. Yeah.
So I know we're getting close to the end here. I could talk for another 100 hours, and we probably will after the recording stops. But what would you just say to somebody who's a little bit older, or a little bit younger, but a little bit older, wants to be a comic, wants to be a singer, wants to be an artist, has a passion, and they're too old.
Right. That's ridiculous, but it's also going to be a difficulty. It's absolutely going to be a barrier to you. Yeah. It's going to be there, and it's going to make it harder, and that's just a fact. But it doesn't mean it can't be done.
Right.
It doesn't mean it can't be done. And sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. And also, it doesn't matter. Success doesn't have to be what it is. I really thought at some point, I always thought I would get so good at that they couldn't ignore me. That was what Steve Martin said. That was my only plan.
Right.
But then I kept thinking, man, Steve Martin was an idiot. I don't think that was a good plan. Because I really thought I was going to get it completely ignored. It wasn't going to happen for me. At some points I started thinking, well, so what? I've still gotten to do what I loved. I've gotten to the point where, I've got the respect of my peers, and Mitzi loved me. So I have that. So I'm just saying, you don't have to expect these, grand success. You just need to do what you need to do if you love something, and not worry about the outcome. Yeah. That shouldn't be it, ever.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, because what is success, right?
Yes.
Is it 8,000 people loving and adoring me? Is it 10 million loving and adoring me? Or is it living our passion and having fun along the way, and not taking everything so serious, and appreciating the moments and the relationships and family and like, to me, like, that is success. The relationship I see that you have with your daughters, and how everybody has stood by you and how you've stood by them. To me, like, that's worth 10 million more things than having an extra $1 million in the bank.
Absolutely. And when I said to a friend of mine, she's a doctor. She worked her way up to the top doctor in the whole children's hospital. 32 years old, had her first baby the other day, a few weeks ago. And her husband's like, he's a bank president, but she's a big, big thing in her world. And they're looking at, like, she doesn't know what to do. Can she get a babysitter? And I drove home, and I called her when I got home. And I said, listen, you're never going to remember whether or not you had a great day in the hospital, ever. You're never going to remember the few months you had in the hospital. You're going to remember a few months you had with your kid. So if you need to be the one to take care of the kid because you can't get a nanny that you feel comfortable with during COVID, and you have to take a break from your career, you'll never remember that break in your career. You'll remember being a mom to your baby, and the joy of it. Because if you're stressed during that time because you're worried about that daycare situation, whatever, I'm just saying, you gotta think about the big things. And for me, the big things are family, and love, and your partner, your family, and that's it. Maybe your dog, and then your other stuff is your other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, Vicki Barbolak.
Thanks, Joe.
Oh, it's always so good to have you here. Where can people find you?
Well, they can find my podcast.
Find the trailer park, because we're up on the top of the hill.
The trailer park is Oceanside, Rancho Calavero, space 225. And I say that people never come by. But anyway, it is my Big Girls Don't Cry podcast is on iTunes and all the other podcast platforms. And it's live on, you can see this, do the video show on YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, Vicki Barbolak. I also have a website, vickibarbolak.com. And it's a fun website.
With an I.
With an I. That's right.
Not with a Y.
And if you can't find, just look at AGT, and my picture will be over there if you want to see how to spell my name. But that's how you find me, and hopefully you'll find me back on tour pretty soon.
Well, awesome. Well, I want to say to our viewers, please don't forget to share the love. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Search for Money You Should Ask.
No, not tonight. Nope, not tonight.
What?
I am bombing. I'm podcast bombing your podcast,
No,
Bob.
I thought you were going to be a guest again.
No, Bob. We are tired of you asking all the questions. So I have talked to your producer, and I am taking over the podcast as host tonight. Yes, sir. Okay. You are in the hot seat.
Uh-oh.
You are going to be talking about money to us.
Uh-oh.
Yes. I want to know, first of all, why are you so fond of your Lexus automobiles, huh? Why? What makes them so fabulous for you?
You know what's great about a Lexus?
What is great about a Lexus?
Because I might think I'm on number 7 or 8.
Yes. Freaks me out.
Yeah. They're so freaking reliable. So here's the deal.
Okay.
So several years ago, when I had a Mercedes,
right,
which I loved, I was talking to this other comic who was also a mechanic.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, what's the car that never goes into the dealership for other than the annual checkup? Like, what car do you never see?
Right.
He said, we never see Lexus. They never bring them in.
Right.
He goes, they freaking run like a charm. Well, I'm frugal.
Yes.
And practical, and I don't like taking my car in and having to pay money. And with my Mercedes, I was always like, oh, cool, it was only $800 this time, right? And I don't like paying for car repair. And so the Lexuses have, I've never had a car not start.
So how many miles do you usually take up to one? When do you get rid of them?
Well, my first one I drove until about 120,000 miles. And the thing that I was really upset about with that is they had told me if I'd spent $5,000, it would give me another 100,000. And at the time, I still was not financially solid. I was still just like getting it together. And I thought it was just a scam, so I didn't pay the $5,000. And then one day the car just stopped. And then when they towed it in, the guy goes, "Oh man, why didn't you pay the $5,000?" And I was like, "I thought that was a scam." They're like, and I'd still be driving that Lexus.
So now, next car, how many miles did you get out of that one?
Well, so then I found out that some of my clients expected to see me in a new Lexus every 2 or 3 years. And by the time I got my second one, my credit was good. I was on track. And so Lexus would just call me up and say, hey, we'll give you a new car. And, same deal. And I thought, oh, okay, cool.
So you keep turning in brand new cars?
So I keep turning in brand new cars.
And you don't pay a down payment? You just stay the same? You stay the same monthly payment. Mm-hmm. How long have you had the same monthly payment roughly then?
Probably about 10 years.
See, I was so poor I could never afford a monthly payment.
Right.
So I always had to get a car. Yeah. I did once have a monthly payment on that VW thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then after that I had to get a payment on the Rabbit. But that's true. But other than that, so that's what you do. So
But I'm going to tell you right now, the one I have right now, I love it. There were a couple that I didn't like so much, and I whatever. Sometimes you just get a car, I don't know. I'm sorry. There's like some energy or whatever. And one of the comics puked on my way down to La Jolla.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I'm like, I'm trading in this car. Trading in the car. Somebody puked.
Yep.
But this car I really love. And I remember how much I loved not making car payments. And I don't really care so much about the write-off anymore. I'd rather just not pay the money. So I'm actually, because I have so low mileage on this car, because I live and work about a mile.
Exactly.
But of course I'm not going to walk it. It's 4 blocks. It's LA. I have to.
So you have to have this car 4 years now?
Yeah. So
this one you might just keep and not have a payment.
I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to not have payment. I'm excited. I'm going to keep it.
I know you've always wanted, and I love this about you because you're so. I've wanted a refrigerator for 5 years.
Yeah.
I've been having the same old. I hate my refrigerator. Yeah. It's literally glued together. And I want a refrigerator like I can't say. Yeah. And I know that's how much you want a camper.
Yes.
You have wanted a camper since I met you.
Yes.
Like you were dating, park rangers just to see if you could steal a camper from someone.
That's right.
So you've always wanted a camper.
Yeah.
So what's holding you back from you making this camper dream come true?
Well, I don't want to buy a new one.
Well, I believe there's something called Offer Up, Bob, which they have many. I wait to buy things sometimes. Yeah, I waited. Okay, as long as I've wanted a refrigerator, which is about 5 years, you've been talking about a camper.
I know, because I always want to make sure that I didn't overpay and that I got the right deal and then I'm going to love it. So sometimes it takes me a while to make a decision on something, because if I'm going to part with my money, I want to love that I parted with my money.
Yes.
Like when I eat really good sushi and I part with my money, I know I got my money's worth.
The great thing, though, since you have waited, they've developed some really cute pop-up trailers that weren't even available 5 years ago.
See, that's cool. That's why I waited.
There's the ones that are called A-frames.
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
I've seen them.
They are to die. Now they're probably 5 years old. You can get a good deal. And maybe now that you've paid off this car, you're not going to have a car payment anymore. Right. You could really think that this could be your year. Plus, it's COVID. It's a great time to camp.
No, it's a perfect time.
So
it's gonna happen. I was hoping your daughter would hook me up with a.
Well, Tim has looked. So
okay, we're gonna find. No, this is the year. Here's the thing. This is so crazy, but I can afford to buy it.
I believe that, Bob.
Right.
Yes. I believe there's enough money in your stock right now to buy the goddamn thing.
It's that I just want to make sure I just don't. I don't like partying with my money.
I understand. Right.
And I am generous with other things.
Yes.
I give to charity.
Yes,
I do that.
of course.
But man, I don't know. I just like I gotta know it's got to be worth it.
Right. Right. Okay.
And it's not that I sit around and count my money. I just want to make sure that, like, when the next pandemic comes, I'm prepared.
Right. Exactly. I just that's the one thing I sometimes think about you.
I'm gonna have a camper.
I wish one day you'll get the camper
by the end of 2020.
That's awesome. I'm not saying you have to, but yeah, because I want to borrow it actually.
No, okay.
No, so
all right.
Yeah, and we just figured out a way to. Our son-in-law just bought a tent for his back of his truck, so now we can go camping. But
that's cool.
Yeah, it's but it's I'm so happy to hear that. I remember I remember you used to live in this cool loft in downtown LA.
I did.
This really cool brick loft. It was just amazing, and you had great parties there. And then at some point during the party, you would go around and make sure that if there was any chips left, that people were going to eat, you bagged them before they got stale during the party. So I'm not saying
I probably did.
No, those were really fun times. But I also know that, like you have no problem spending money on your animals, taking really good care of your animals.
Yes.
And a lot of people just have an inability, or maybe even they're wealthy, but they don't take good care of their animals.
Yeah.
Okay, I've never taken good care of my animals because I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
And I remember one time this lady followed Lou home, Sparky, the last dog, which had 16 years. We never could afford dental work, and those little dogs, their teeth are just, you could smell them from a mile away. And this lady literally followed him home and yelled at us to take our dog to the dentist, dog dentist. And Lou looked at this woman and goes, I haven't been to the dentist in 3 years, ma'am. I can't afford to take a dog. I'm a piano player. Slammed the door. But after I was on AGT and Jimmy got sick, and we took him to the vet, and it was teeth. It was teeth causing him to back up. And the lady gave me the bill. It was $1,200, and I just burst into tears. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry. She goes, it's too much. I go, it's not that. I have a $400 pet limit. They have to go be gassed. And this is the first time I've ever had the money to pay. I get to keep him alive, and I was so happy. And she's looking at me like, okay, we're going to get the net now.
Pet value days.
Pet value days, which was your old fabulous joke.
Yeah.
You used to say, was that Joe?
I draw the line at $500.
Yeah, my pet doesn't live in this neighborhood. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that was really funny. But you never were like that. But you were.
No, I wasn't. I feel like with my animals, I've agreed to take them on, and it's my responsibility. And so, I mean, I joke about not doing it, but I do. I spend on them, and even if there's something like, there's been a couple times where there was a false emergency, and I rush them to the emergency, and they're like, no, everything's fine, $300. I still don't feel bad about spending the $300.
Right.
Like, because I'd rather just be safe than sorry. Because my pets have been amazing, and I think
that's
love them.
Your heart. And the other thing that I love in your love, because I know how you are about money. You're just like me, but it's different because you didn't have to be. You chose to be. Like, do you dream, Bob, of one day just like buying like shopping, like not shopping center, nobody wants one of those. Like, do you ever dream of like really owning buildings and really becoming really wealthy one day?
So I used to. I used to have this plan. I was going to buy the world one building at a time, have my empire. And I bought a couple buildings and got into real estate. I hated it. I was too nice to the tenants. They'd be like, "Oh, I can't pay the rent. My husband left me." And, "Oh yeah, that's okay. That's okay." 8 months later, "Okay, you're gonna have to leave. I can't." So I didn't have the temperament to like throw people out. And I realized, not my thing.
Right.
Honestly, life's too short. I enjoy money, but I tell this a lot of times when I'm a guest on other shows is, when I went to Africa and realized, had a mind shift that life isn't about how much you accumulate, and life isn't about, my value isn't based on all of my accomplishments, which I still sometimes struggle against. I still want to have all my accomplishments and have my benchmarks. But at the end of the day, I'd much rather spend it traveling, being with friends, being with family, camping, hanging out with my dog. Like, that stuff is much more important to me and a lot less stressful maybe not so much with family. But, right. But it's like that stuff's more important to me. And yeah, there are times that I have people go, Bob, man, you should get in on this with us. We could make so much money. And there's a part of me that wants to play the game because I think I'm good at playing the game.
Right.
But I don't want to play the game.
You don't want to be that.
I don't.
All that effort and
what
time
you have to give up for me, what I think I would have to give up to have all that, just to have a whole bunch of extra money that I don't get to take with me or that I can impress people with. Like, no.
The other thing that I've always thought, that you've spent money on, and I've watched you, and I became a beneficiary of it, is you've attended a lot of self-realization, self-fulfillment classes, and you learned about neuro-linguistic programming, and you've been involved in many things that have fed your soul, and you've learned from wise people, and you've paid for these classes, and you've taken them, and you've learned to lead them. And I remember, I don't know if you know this much, but how many times I might not have told you, but I've told this about you so many times. It was 20 years ago when my mom died. She died in 2001. And I didn't know she was going to die. She had hepatitis C for 20 years. She got it from her first heart surgery. And we never got along. I was always a disappointment to her, and I knew it. And I always wished I had known her as a friend and not my mother. But we always butted heads, man. And then you had this extra ticket because your friend couldn't go with you to this weekend in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming in San Diego. We get there, and this guy, the leader of it, I think his name is Rodriguez or something. Yeah. He started the first AIDS hospices in San Diego. Amazing guy. There's a big sign on the stage, said one thing: you had the mother you were supposed to have. Right. That's all that was on stage. Yeah. I walked in there, my mouth dropped. Did that weekend, learned that my mother did the best she could with the information she had. I mean, that's the whole weekend. That's what I took. It was incredibly fabulous for me. Wouldn't have gone and I never left home if it wasn't to do stand-up, because I always felt it was too gone from the kids. For some reason, when you asked me, I said yes, which shocked me that I would go do something like that, because I'm like weirdo stuff, I don't know. Free. But even still, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even still, it was a miracle that I said yes. Yeah. But I just think I want to hang out with you, and I said, okay, if Bob's doing it, I'll do it. And then my mother and I had the best year of our life together because of that. Yeah. Because I went there, because that happened. So I always want to thank you for that, because that was really important to me. I think it's like you choose what to spend your money on. Do you have do you have a ritual amount of income that you put away every month, always, percentage of your income?
I don't anymore. What I do is I allocate myself, hopefully, I put away about $500 to $1,000 for me to just have play money. And then everything else gets put aside to either go into savings or it goes to pay my other expenditures. So if I can't get my needs met in terms of going out to dinner with that $500 to $1,000 that I put in, and actually what happens a lot of times is I won't spend it, right? And then it gets to $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, and then I'm like, I think I'm gonna take a trip. So I have created a no-guilt bank account, and that's the money that's for me to just do whatever. The rest of the money gets just put aside. I put it into 401k. I put it into I invest it, and I don't. It's less about I'm saving 30%. It's more about I allow myself to have $500 to $1,000, and then everything else goes to pay for the things that I want and need, and the rest goes to savings.
Got it. So, I guess you advise different people to invest money differently at different ages of their life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I'm 62, and I don't want to take your time on the show asking you this, but for everybody, if you just give one piece of universal advice, say you have $50,000 that you think you should invest somewhere, or 20,000, whatever it is, and maybe more than 15,000, that you should invest somewhere. What do you tell people? What do you tell people?
Well, the first thing I would say is if somebody got a windfall of $50,000, I'd probably say take 10% of that and invest in yourself. Take a trip, do something that you never got to do, take a class, like invest in yourself and take that money and have it guilt-free, just 10%. The rest of that money, I would say probably because I would be conservative in my approach, I'd probably say if I wanted to invest it away, I'd put it into mutual funds because I feel like that.
Even now?
Well, I feel like mutual funds, you sort of get to hedge your bets. It's a little bit more risk-free. I mean, me personally, I'm investing in some stock. I luckily happened to buy some Tesla stock right before they had their surprise earnings second quarter here, so their stock just rose right after I bought it. But I'm not a big buy lots of stock. If I buy stock, it's stock that's going to have lots of dividends that I have reinvested instead of looking for stocks that I can sell and get a capital gain. So to me, mutual funds are a good, sure way to. It's better than an interest-bearing account at this point.
And do you choose your own mutual funds, or how do you tell people to?
So there's a lot, you can go to Fidelity, you can go to E-Trade. A lot of them have different mutual funds. So if I want to be in a mutual fund that mostly invests in green companies, or if I want a mutual fund that's more heavy into oil and pharmaceutical, which I probably wouldn't be.
Right.
You can choose sort of the area that you want to put your energy, but I find that those have a pretty good rate of return, and they're somewhat insulated from the ups and downs of stock. I just feel like that's, if I'm going to put my money away.
It's better than anything else.
Yeah. You're talking $2 million, then I'm going to talk about a different way to invest. But if we're talking 15 to 50,000, I'm going to say that's a good place. And then put the money in and leave it alone. Forget about it. Put the money, that's, I think, one of the things that, for me, I put money in different bank accounts, and then, okay, that one's got 40,000 in it. I forget about it. So that I'm not going, oh, wait, no, I have extra money. No, it's funny. I'll walk around going, oh, my God, I don't have any money. Okay, well, that's a lie. But I sort of lie to myself.
Yes.
So that I'm not going back and going, well, I could just take a little out of this one. And I would rather.
Or I could get that camper.
That'll be earmarked out of my guilt-free money.
Got you.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, too. You can't travel very much on a big trip right now. So that balloon must be getting big, Bob.
It's getting there. Although I do get occasional sushi, even though it's a takeout,
fat girls don't get sushi.
No?
No, never do.
Why not?
Because only thin girls get sushi. Oh. It's a fact of life. You have to buy your own. And then I would never do that. So I'm still sort of sushi challenged, even now. But I have found some bargain sushi places around here, I have to say.
See,
I love sushi.
I don't want, when you come back to LA, I'll take you to a couple places. I don't like bargain sushi. one of the funniest things, Peter from the Comedy Store and I were heading down to La Jolla to have a weekend meeting with the staff. And Peter had said to me, hey, do you want to grab something to eat? And I said, what do you want? He's like, hey, any good sushi place? I said, well, there's this great sushi place I went to last night because somebody from the college had taken me out for sushi the night before, and I had heard about this little dive place near my house, and I said, and I went there, and it was amazing. I mean, it was like butter. It was beautiful. And so I said, Peter, it's this great little place, and let's go there. So we go there, we eat it. Peter's like, this is amazing. The bill came, and it was $500. And I was like, oh, my God. The guy didn't say anything the night before that we had just spent $500 on sushi. So I'm like, Peter, I swear to God, I had no idea, right? I'm like,
oh my God.
I mean, it was $500 worth of, it was so good. And we didn't even drink, right?
Nothing's worth $500.
So I call the rep from the college, and I said, hey, Knight, did you?
His name is Knight? No wonder.
Yeah, Knight. And so I said, Knight, was the sushi dinner the other night $500? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, I am so sorry. Why didn't you say anything? He goes, well, look, I don't take people out a lot for dinner, and the college approved it. And I was like, I am so, oh my God. I never went back to that sushi place because, okay, I don't mind paying $200. I'll pay $250.
I'd be praying to God I brought my cockroach with me. Oh my
$500.
God.
Peter was like, luckily, the good thing is we went down to La Jolla, and one of the beer companies ended up paying for the weekend.
No.
And I was like, see, Peter, it all worked out.
Thank
the beer company
God.
paid for everything because we ate the budget.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh my God, $500. Like, okay, I draw the line at $500 for pets and sushi.
Oh,
my
people in
God.
LA are insane. They're insane. They're not even real.
No.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what I do.
I love a good meal, but
Yeah,
whoa,
no.
$500.
No.
Yeah, that's part of a
No.
camper payment.
Like Lou and I went out last night after the show to a place I love in La Jolla. It's a simple place. It's the pub place. And I felt like, okay, I got an appetizer and then I got a side of onion rings, but no big deal. But Lou got a $22 hamburger and then it was really fun. But then today I'm like, well, we can't do that again. So I made him cook dinner. So our dinner is cooked for after the show when we come back to the trailer.
That's fun.
Oh, that's right. I'm asking you the question.
Well, it is your job since you took it from me.
You know what? I think people are really enjoying not hearing you being
questions?
grilled.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
you, Mr. Money, right? But did you? So, you've given people a lot of good advice. So what is the best advice anyone ever gave you? The best financial advice anyone ever gave you?
I think the best financial advice anybody ever gave me, I would say that was my brother-in-law when I first started working, and he said to me, don't invest in stock market or any of that kind of stuff unless you're willing to lose the money, because there's no guarantee in any of that stuff. And you've got to be able to tolerate losing it if you're going to invest it. So I think that, for me, that was a good thing because it was a very sobering, I could lose it, right? Just as much as you could.
It's gambling.
It's gambling. I think one of the other pieces of advice that wasn't direct was paying off my credit card debt, like getting rid of that. I think when you're younger, for a lot of people, and I know they give credit cards right out of college, things like that, we're not really taught about all that and the impact. And so when you're thinking when you get 5 credit cards and they've each got a $5,000 to $10,000 credit limit, I've got $50,000 worth of money that I don't have to pay back. And then you go out and spend $50,000 because I didn't have boundaries with my money at that time. And then all of a sudden you're paying 18%, 20%. Now people are paying 23, 24, 25%. You're never going to pay that back. And I think when I finally just went cold turkey and literally froze all my credit cards, and just only if it was in my wallet, I spent it, and that was painful for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Just getting that behind me, I now freak out. Like all my credit cards are at 0 except one, and I now do it for my mileage.
Yeah.
My Amex.
Right.
Other than that, I keep everything at 0. They've actually started shutting them down because I never use them, and that's okay too.
Right.
But I think I can feel the freedom of not having all that interest that I was paying that was so ridiculous. And I think in a way, credit cards, for me, and maybe for other people, it was a crutch where I could pretend like I had it together financially when I didn't really. And using the credit card, I could just put a Band-Aid on my financial situation.
Right.
And then tell myself, no, it'll be fine. So I think for me, that's been the has been huge is not having credit card interest and not having the credit card debt.
Right.
It's so nice to just know I don't have these floating debts.
Because it is a slippery slope, and it's a temptation like the devil.
Yeah.
That I really think it is. And if I have a credit card in Macy's, I will spend way more money than if I'm using a debit card. This is fact. So I don't use them anymore either. I just use American Express so what do you really hate? I mean, I'm using a strong word here, but what do you really, really, really hate spending money on?
Well, that's a couple things. Parking. I'm with you, and I will drive for a freaking hour and spend $80 of gas to avoid paying for parking. Oh my God.
Yep.
I okay, I'll pay $1, but when I go to Dodger Stadium, really, you're going to charge me $15 after you're charging $80 for a beer?
Right.
And Come on.
Yeah.
That ruins an event
Yeah.
for me in a heartbeat.
Right. Have you ever thought about just offering people $5 to let you ride into the car to go into the Dodger Stadium?
Well, yeah, but that doesn't always work. Like if you go to the Getty Museum,
Yeah.
you have to prove that you came by taxi. You can't,
Understand.
so
Just a thought.
it's a thought. But, I stalk a lot of people already, and I'm
So
on a list.
parking, and is there one other thing that just drives you nuts? Nothing. You can't think of anything.
You got to give me a hint.
I don't know. I just.
I thought there'd be more than just parking.
Oh, no, that's it.
Sorry. that was
That's
bizarre.
great. Okay, that's good. Well, it was a very good answer. Parking, and I'm with you on that. You know how I feel
thought
about
there'd be more than
parking.
parking.
It's
So,
parking.
okay,
I don't mind anything
Can I ask
else.
you? Can I
It's
ask you?
parking.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
All right, Bob. So I have, I because I've known you, and I know your heart. I know that your job as a CFO at the Comedy Store. Back when I started the Comedy Store, about half of my checks would bounce. My $125 checks would bounce
From the Comedy Store.
Yeah, they would
I know.
always
So did
bounce.
the $15 checks.
Yeah, the $15 checks would bounce. And then you just would count, put them all together, and then they'd pay your fee. And it was just a ritual. It wasn't
It was a
anything.
ritual.
It was just expected.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything. And then you came in there, and because I used to think Mitzi had a bulldozer outside the store to keep the money from coming in the store. Like
Right.
she would not allow the bulldozer,
Yeah.
no money's coming in.
No money's coming in.
And you had to constantly battle that mindset that was there. And, she was wonderful in every way, but she really didn't want, for some reason, that she just, literally, it seemed like there was a plan to keep money out of there.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I mean, Mitzi had a big heart, and I've told this before. There was a time where I went and got $3,000 or $5,000 for the bank for the weekend. We used to have those meetings in the back, which had the booth in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And Mitzi asked me to run and do something, and I left the $5,000 in a bag on the table, and I went to do something, and I came back, and the bag was gone. And I said, Mitzi, somebody stole the money. And it's either a comic, it's got to be an employee or a comic, because there's nobody in the building. Mitzi said, it's probably a comic. They needed it more than we did, so don't worry about it. And I was like, what? And it was amazing, because it did feel like Mitzi really actually just cared about the comics.
Yeah.
She loved the comics. She wanted that to be their home. It was an artist colony, and she really didn't care about the money. And it was a struggle sometimes, because I felt like every time we'd start to get money, she'd find ways to just bring that balance right back down to zero. And I know I wasn't conscious, because she did want to make sure that there was money to take care of everybody. She pulled out so much money against her house,
Right.
and took out loans.
You were constantly
We were-
juggling this mortgage against this mortgage, and you were buying
Yeah.
yourself another 5 years every 3 years.
Yeah. But the cool thing was, with all that, I was talking to Argus one time, and he was talking about, did she, when her health got bad, was it fair to keep her, alive and all that stuff? And I said, one of the coolest things was that as the store got more successful, we were able to pay back all of those loans that she had taken out against her house,
Right.
plus interest.
Yeah.
And it was such a cool feeling of knowing that she had been made whole.
Right. Yeah.
Because she gave her love, sweat, and tears, and every last dollar to keep that club alive.
Yep.
She would tell me stories. Oh my God, she used to tell me all these stories. And I think for her, being a woman in a world that was considered a man's world, and going up against some of the other club owners, and people really tried to take her out so many times. At first I was like, Mitzi, really? But then I saw that happened. I think she did an amazing thing. So
Yep.
for me, it was really cool that, for all that she gave, that she was able to be made whole on all that stuff she did.
That's wonderful. Not everyone knows what Mitzi did for the store.
No.
Mitzi is the store.
She is.
And Mitzi has given so many of us our whole career. She gave me my whole career. Everything is because of Mitzi.
Yeah.
But I don't think very many people know that if it weren't for you, the Comedy Store couldn't have come through all these years, because it was a heroic effort, and you were the perfect man, the perfect time, and the perfect place to stay the course, because the craziness that came through with the brothers and all of that constantly, and then the dynamics, the people that were involved, and Mitzi's health, and Mitzi's strong personality, all that you weathered it. And I remember so many times you go, I can't do it anymore, Vicki. I'm going to tell him no. I'm going to say I'm out. This is the last month. But you were like, your nerves, your blood pressure, you were so taken, always, every moment. I remember so many times being with you, the phone was never stopped ringing, the Comedy Store, plus you had your own firm. And then, what you did was heroic, and I'm grateful for you. And I know most people don't know. How would they know? But people do need to know that we got the Comedy Store. It kept going because of what you did.
Well, I appreciate that. I really can't take full credit. I think there have been so many people that have done things at different times to help the store. I love the store. I loved Mitzi. I would have probably done almost anything for her. I might have even driven off a bridge. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thankfully, she never asked me. She was a very charismatic woman, and I was fortunate enough to have a really cool relationship with her, and I just felt like I was lucky. And I also, all my friends were comics, so we had to make sure there was a place for everybody to perform.
Right. And the beautiful thing too is the way, your calmness. I think you steered the whole family into the right place, because they are in a really good place now. The whole dynamic of the store, everybody's given up a lot of ego, and they're kind to each other, and so much better. And it's just so wonderful. And I can't, eventually it'll be open again.
It will. I can't wait. Yeah. I love the store, and Mitzi still is the store. So it's been a crazy journey, and I don't think I would trade it.
Right on. I just want to say happy 90th birthday to Mitzi Shore today.
Happy 90th birthday.
So happy, beautiful 90th birthday to the most amazing woman and the mother of all of us comedians. That's why her funeral was on Mother's Day, because she's everybody's mother in this business. She's so special. And I'm so grateful for what you did. I guess the last thing I wanted to ask you in terms of finance is, do you think it's wise for people, and if they did, how would you find a good financial advisor? Or would you just look towards a good CPA? How do you find the right person to help you?
Well, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So some people are trying to just look at investing, and then a financial advisor might be the right person for them. Other people are trying to look at tax strategies, and a CPA is probably going to be more what they're looking for. I think it's important to find somebody. I'm amazed at how many financial advisors will tell you should buy a house and you should put money in savings. Really? Do you have a house? No, can't afford one. Do you have money in savings? No, I don't have any money left. So you should find people that can at least walk the talk.
Yes.
And that know what they're talking about, or that you get the sense that they're actually there to help you.
Right.
I've worked in a couple firms where it was all about scolding the client, and I just never understood that, because I felt like I was there to be a service. And so it wasn't for me to shame the client into behaving a certain way. It was for me to understand how I could better serve them by getting to understand where they were emotionally. So I think it's important to figure out what you want. If I'm looking at my savings, if I'm looking at my future, then a financial advisor, but I would ask around. And I think the best way to get a good accountant or a good advisor is through referrals. Find other people that love their accountant, or find other people that love their advisor, and go that route. We don't advertise. All of our clients are referral based. And I'm really proud of the fact that I took that company from 100 initial clients to we have over 1,000. And I've got a partner now who's amazing. And, we all love what we do.
That's beautiful. One other thing, because of COVID, I'm not working, so I'm thinking about becoming a Zoom hooker. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually thinking about trademarking the name Zucker.
Yeah.
Zucker.
Yeah. As
Zoom hooker. It just came to me yesterday.
I think it's awesome.
So I think that it's a legal business.
Yeah.
Because I'm just performing on the Zoom.
Right.
So but that's just my only, Would I set it up as a corporation? Would that protect me? For say, I don't see how I could hurt someone. They couldn't give them an STD because I'm from the Zoom.
That's right.
But maybe I could give them a vision they can't get out of their head. They're no longer able to sleep or have sex with anyone
anxiety.
else. Because yes, maybe I've turned them gay and they weren't gay before.
Right.
Whatever I'm saying.
There's possibilities.
So that's what I'm saying. Should I incorporate just to
you always definitely want to have a little bit of liability protection.
Okay.
Zoom will give them sexual protection, but a corporation's going to give you liability
protection. That's
which is probably more important.
Okay. That's just all I needed to know.
Yeah. The only thing I'd worry about there, though, is if people start hitting the record on the Zoom, then they get to watch multiple versions of the same thing. So.
Oh, so really, it's almost like
you might need to get that copyrighted or trademarked because people might then start
there's a workaround that. Oh God, I didn't. I thought it was Zoom was a one-time shot.
No, you can push a button, record, and then.
I'm gonna have to look for another platform.
Yeah.
More like what is that other one? What the kids do?
I know it comes for a minute and then it's gone, like Snapshot or something.
Something like. But I would need a good 3 minutes to get a guy going.
Yeah.
Maybe 5.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most people.
Because I'm not as young as I used to be.
Yeah,
I have some tricks.
You need a little time.
Well, that's good. See, you just right now, I would have spent all the money incorporating the Zoom technology, and I would have been giving it away for free. It could have ended up being sold. Thank you once again, Bob. You are the financial guru, and you've done a very nice job answering your questions.
Well, thank you very much.
You are a wonderful guest of your own show.
Well, then if you're going to do the rest of it, then you have to ask where people can find me.
Oh God, I'm so okay.
I mean, if you're going to take my job.
This is the recap.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing what you have shared today, Bob.
Oh, no.
And thank you for helping us relate to the emotions of money.
Yes.
And where can people find you, Bob?
People can find me at moneyyoushouldAsk.com or themoneynerve.com or Bob Wheeler at themoneynerve.com.
Is that it, Bob? Is that the only places they can find you?
Well,
the gym, maybe?
Not anymore. No, I have my own home gym. I didn't want to pay the membership fees.
Okay. All right, don't forget to share the love. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Search for Money You Should Ask, and all one word. I shouldn't have said that like that. And search for Money You Should Ask. That's all one word.
Yes,
you can subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or your favorite podcast player. And ... If you prefer to watch our episodes, you can subscribe on our YouTube channel. And I would watch Bob's cute face any day. Do you ever go to Bun Boy and Baker? That face, that was actually Bob's. He was the original Bun Boy of Baker. And actually had a line of underwear for males called Bun Boy, which I briefly sold in Palm Springs. We could talk all night. Bob Wheeler, thank you again. Thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Vicki, for having me on your show.
It's been my pleasure taking over your show, Podcast Bombing.
Love it.
Hi, I'm Anthony and I'm the producer of Money You Should Ask. And today I've asked Bob to sit down at my laptop as I have a little surprise for him. And I'd like to give a quick little shout out to everyone who got involved in this today because you didn't have very much notice and you all came through. So thank you very much. Take it away, Bob. Press play.
I'm a little frightened.
Congratulations, Bob, on 100 episodes. You made the grade.
Wow. Thank you.
Bob Wheeler, congratulations, man. 100 episodes. That's awesome. Happy to be a part of it. God bless, man.
Happy 100th episode. Bob, I love your curiosity about money and life. Thrilled I could be a part of your podcast, Money You Should Ask. Here's to the next 100.
Hey, Bob. It's your old pal, Jamie Kaler here, wishing you congratulations on 100 episodes of your podcast. Which, by the way, 100 episodes is when syndication kicks in and then you start to make millions and millions of dollars. So,
cool.
Happy early retirement, my buddy. You'll soon be living in a house of cash up on the top of the hill. And hopefully I can come visit. I love you, brother. Congrats.
Hey, Bob. It's Mrs. Schnitlick. Happy 100th episode. Love you.
Bob Wheeler, Matt Knutson here with a hearty congratulations on 100 episodes of Money You Should Ask. I remember when the podcast first got started, hearing a lot of your critics say, sure, Wheeler can do 98, maybe 99, but you certainly showed them. Here's to 98 or 99 more. Peace. Congrats.
Hi, Bob. Congratulations on 100 episodes. I'm so grateful that we've worked together for so many years and that you asked me on your show. Here's to 100 more.
Bob, what's up? It's Duncan. Congrats on your 100th episode. You're going to have 1 million more. Well, I don't know if you're going to live that long, but you're definitely going to have hundreds more episodes. And thanks for letting me be a guest on your awesome show. You're the best. I miss you. I miss the Comedy Store. I miss watching you perform.
Hi, Bob Wheeler.
Hi, Cynthia.
How's it going?
Good.
I'm here. I'm Cynthia Levin. I did your show a while back. I don't know if you remember me. I regaled you with stories of how horrible I am with money. I'm fine now. I mean, this pandemic hasn't affected me at all. And that $100 a week, making minimums in order to get money from the government, is not affecting me at all. Listen, Bob, I am so grateful for what you're doing. I want to wish you a happy 100th episode of Money You Should Ask. Listen, I'm making a pledge to listen to your podcast more often, and I hope everybody else does too. Cheers, and thanks for what you're doing.
Hey Bob, Hanifa here.
Hey, Hanifa.
I just wanted to congratulate you on 100 episodes of Money You Should Ask. I can't believe it lasted this long, but anything can happen during the pandemic. You're awesome. I love you. Here's to 100 more.
Hey, this is Mike Marino, and I just wanted to say to Bob Wheeler, congratulations on your 100th episode of one of the most fantastic shows. Funny shit. It's not funny. It's money. Money you should ask.
Hey Bob, congratulations on this exciting milestone. It's been so great to see all the things that you're doing, and I wish you so much success as you go for another 100.
Hey Bob, Kelsey from Synergy Dogs here with all my dogs, but they won't come to me. Roo, come here, come here. Yes, my girl. I just want to wish you a happy 100th episode for the podcast. That's so amazing. I want to thank you for having me on as a guest. That was the best experience ever. I actually just started my own podcast, and I cannot wait until I have 100 episodes. So I am so happy for you, so proud of you, and I cannot wait for your next episode. Talk to you soon.
Hi Bob! It's Teresa Tennille from Down Under. Congratulations on 100 episodes!
Yay!
Woo!
We're so proud of you. Your show deserves all the recognition, and here's to 100 more.
Yay! Congratulations, best of wishes, love you lots. Mwah!
Hey Bob, it's Candace here. I wanted to give you a shout out for your 100th episode of your Money You Should Ask podcast. What a feat. Congratulations. Really happy that you're continuing to do the work, to be with people in humor and in seriousness as they navigate through the emotions that people have around money and finance, getting in touch with what really drives people. So great job and keep up the good work.
Hey Bob.
Thank you. Hey Rob.
Yeah, someone told me this is your 100th episode. And happy anniversary.
Bob, it's Joanna Cassidy.
Hey,
congratulations on 100 shows. I want to come back. I want to talk about money. I love money, honey.
Me too.
Congrats, baby. 100 more. Yay, Bob.
Yeah, Mitzi, I gotta go. It's Bob Wheeler calling. Okay. Bob, hi, it's Jeff Scott, the house pianist at the Comedy Store and archivist. Hey, listen, man, I want to congratulate you on 100 episodes of Money You Should Ask. That is awesome, especially considering you're only 24. Congratulations. What's Mitzi again? Yeah, peanuts and Perrier. Okay.
Mary Kennedy here. Surprise! Happy 100th episode of Money You Should Ask. I'm so glad I got to be on the show, and I'm so honored that I've gotten to work with you all these years. Happy 100th episode.
Hello, Bob. I want to congratulate you on your 100th episode of your podcast, Money You Should Ask. I was very happy to be on your show and share you my story, and we had a lot of fun together. Keep up the good work.
Happy anniversary, Bob. 100 interviews, good for you. Always excited to hear about your new guests and be part of your journey, so hopefully we see each other soon.
I love you, Bob. Thank you for helping me understand I can have a spiritual relationship even with money.
Bob Wheeler, congratulations, 100. That deserves some congratulations. I'm so proud of you. thank you so much. You're such a rock star, and I just appreciate you. So with that, we want to congratulate you on your 100th episode. Yay!
Sabu.
Sabu.
I cannot believe that you have done
Shandor.
417 episodes of your show. Is that right? You
Yes.
idiot! Is it a lady's brooch? No. A glue gun? No. Carpenter's glue, wood glue, something with glue. You idiot! You've messed up again.
Hey Bob, you have got episode number 100 of your brilliant podcast coming out, and I am so excited for you, and I just wanted to congratulate you and tell you to keep up the good work. Thank you so much for adding to the value in the world.
Well, hi, Mr. Bob Wheeler. Princess Corey here.
Hello.
I
Hey,
am
Princess
so
Corey.
very proud of you. I just heard that you had 100 episodes under your belt. Well, if you're going to have 100 things under your belt, episodes are not bad to have. Couldn't have happened to a nicer gentleman. Thank you for putting energy out into the world that helps people. All right, Shit. Congratulations.
Bob, it's your partner on Funny Money, Sheldon Anderson. You might not remember me because you're too busy doing 100 episodes of Money You Should Ask. Okay, but don't forget us, because we're awesome.
Okay.
But apparently you're even more awesome by yourself. Well, maybe not, but you're still awesome.
100 episodes for Bob Wheeler, my boy. And one thing that I want to say is that you get shit done, Bob, and I respect that. And you do things, and you take risk, and you follow through, and you do the work. And it's a huge risk to put yourself out there, to start a podcast, fear of failure, are people going to come? And just to keep powering through and to see the amazingness of what it's become and the success that it is and the vision for where it's going to go is it inspires me, man. So I'm happy for you, and I'm grateful from my end that I get to be in relationship with you and have been on the podcast, and I miss you, man.
So I hear that it's someone's 100th episode. Congratulations, Bob! Yay! You are amazing, and I just want to say thank you so much for helping me with my money transformation journey. You've been incredible and implemental in helping me look at new views around my relationship with money, and it was just such a blast to be on Money You Should Ask. Such a great time and very revealing to myself as well as the listeners. I wish you all the best. More to come. Thousands more episodes to come. You're amazing, and you're such a dear friend, and I love you so much. Here's to another 1,000 episodes. Congrats, Bob. Love you.
Wow. Wow.
Surprise!
Surprise. Wow. Thank you, everybody. Wow. 100.